time since we were together. And today's show is a very special show. It's in regards to Boston and UP leadership. And today we have here in the studio one of the members of the Boston Leadership Committee, Julius. Say hello to our viewers.
Hello viewers, my name is Julius Kakoza, and I'm really glad to be here on Your Voice.
Yes.
Right? Thank you so much for hosting me. And
I'm glad to have you.
Thank you so much.
So as of late, Boston and UP leadership has been in the front news in regards to their leadership and different things that have been going on in the Boston area. Post retreat, the Boston leadership team did go back to the drawing board because there were issues, there were concerns that people who were at the retreat voiced about the goings on with the Boston chapter. So in regards to these sensitive matters, we want to have a conversation with Julius and with our viewers as to what is the way forward. How do we create a plan for the way forward to go forward with integrity, with transparency, and so hence this very important conversation. So Julius, share with us what your role is on the leadership team.
Thank you so much. So Boston as a chapter has a lot of leaders, and I just happen to be one of them. My role is basically to make sure that the programs that are run by the chapter come down to the people, and the people understand the chapter. So I'm just one of the mobilizers and of the chapter, of the Boston chapter specifically, yes.
And so what does your job as a mobilizer entail? So take us to a couple of days, maybe a couple of weeks before the retreat. How did your leadership position, what was the role, what did you do, and how did you contribute to the retreat happening?
It was a really successful retreat.
Yes, it was.
I commend all the team members that participated in making it a success. So basically, my role was to make sure that people understand the purpose of the conference, because communication flows from the leaders, but to the people, there needs to be a channel on how that information is flowing. So my role was to make sure that people understand the role, the purpose of the conference, so that they may be able to to engage very well. So part of my role was to mobilize the general congregation, if you
the common person.
Yeah, the common person, yes. Yeah, so that was part of my role, and also making sure that people understand the purpose of this conference, because it's the first one, so it's the genesis of all the conferences that are gonna be running after as time goes on.
Following annual.
Yeah, following annual. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
And so with the different chapters, there are about how many chapters in the diaspora? How many NUP chapters?
We have about 38, if I'm not being quoted on record. I don't have the specific numbers, but I think they're really close to more than 30.
Okay.
Yeah.
So about 38 chapters in the diaspora, and so I'm going to assume that there are other coordinators, other people like you in other chapters, or maybe they're not. But specifically to the Boston chapter, what is the purpose? What was the purpose actually of having chapters in the diaspora? Why not one big umbrella? Because the emblem is the umbrella. Why not one big umbrella for the whole diaspora? Why so many chapters?
So the purpose of having chapters ideally was to create a very significant structure of flow of information and and our activities, because the diaspora is a very big group. So reaching out to individuals, because as NUP we're about the people, so reaching out to the specific people, we have to create those small clusters. And that's why our principal realized chapters would be necessary, because if a person is in California and we have, let's say, our diaspora team leader sits here in Boston, they may not be able to reach directly to the to the common people down in California, or in Canada, or in Australia. So that's why those individual chapters are very crucial to structuring the diaspora as a team and NUP as a whole.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for you, Julius, how would you define integrity?
Integrity. That's a very big word. Yeah, but integrity, in terms of leadership, I would think is, if I may use the word accountability. You know, integrity is being able as a leader to be held accountable by the people you are serving. Being open, and I think that is one of the things that are lacking within our leadership as Ugandans as a whole. You know, so I would really think integrity would entail accountability and openness, and being responsible for your actions as a leader, as a member. Even the people we serve, we hold them accountable. You know, as they hold us accountable, we also hold them accountable. So it's a vice versa. You know, as leaders, we have to portray integrity. We have to portray openness. We have to portray. We have to be held accountable by our people. That is how I would really think integrity will be defined.
So in regards to the Boston chapter, there have been concerns that people who the Boston leaders serve, the members of the Boston NUP chapter, have expressed about the integrity of the leadership in Boston, about the transparency of the leadership in Boston. How do you, for yourself, given that you're on the leadership team, how do you see where there are possible gaps, where the concerns of the constituents of Boston chapter, where those concerns are true?
Yeah. So yes, it is true. The members have voiced out concerns, and as leaders, we have to listen to their voices. So part of the reasons why I think members have voiced out a lot of concern is because of the way our structures are right now currently. That's why there was one of the issues that were raised is is structuring our leadership, because the common man down here, the people we are serving down here, they have questions, but then they don't know who to run to. Let's say someone has donated their $20 through a coordinator, and then the purpose of which maybe that $20 has been donated hasn't been communicated back to that person who donated the $20. So you see, there is that gap. This person who donated the $20, they don't know where to seek that accountability. But if there was a structure from which this person can run to see, okay, I donated my $20, what happened to those $20? Yes. So if we have the structures, there will be like flow of communication. This person has made a contribution. Maybe they have raised an issue that, ABCD, I think this would be good for the team, and they raise it. But then the person to whom they raise it also has to communicate back to them that, okay, this happened or this is not going to happen.
Yes.
So that's part of the reasons why actually we had the retreat, so that we can hear from the people and then go back and act on some of the issues that were raised. But yes, people raised some issues, and I would like to, just on behalf of the Boston chapter, to make sure to tell the people that yes, we had and we are working. It's progress. We are working on ironing out some of the issues that were raised.
What has been the impact on the leadership team, and what has been the impact on the members with these? What have been the issues? Let me start over again.
Yes.
These issues that are on the table.
Yes.
Clearly, there's an impact on people, both the leadership team and also the people within the chapter. What impacts have you noticed that these issues have had on people?
Like the general, like the people we're serving?
Yes. Where there's a lack of transparency, how has that impacted people?
It has caused some chaos. I would like to be honest and say that. Yes, it has really caused some chaos. And also it has caused some chaos amongst the leaders, because if information is not flowing rightly, then there is a lot of confusion. That is when we even have people who are coming in from the opposite side to come and disorganize us. So yes, those issues have really, it has.
I would even assert a lack of trust.
Yes.
In the leadership, and even a lack of participation.
Yes, it has kind of demoralized the people, the general population, and it has also put a sense of people have lost some sense of purpose of the whole clear picture, which is, removing the dictator. Because every activity that we do, we shouldn't forget the main goal.
Yes.
So we spent a lot of time not focusing on the main goal, which is removing Museveni. So every little thing we do should be pointed to that. If someone donates $10, it should be towards removing Museveni.
Yes.
If someone raises an issue, if someone makes a phone call on this show, it should be towards removing the dictator. So people have kind of shied away from the main purpose as a result of this chaos.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so you mentioned that the chapter leaders have heard the concerns. They have heard, the different issues that people have addressed at the retreat and post-retreat. What are the action steps, if there are, that are already in place to deal with these issues?
So some of the action steps that have been taken, I will speak on behalf of Boston as a chapter. As you know, the diaspora is big, and these concerns that were raised during the conference
pertaining to Boston.
Yeah. So some of the action steps that have been taken is, one, documenting what happened. We have secretaries in here at the Boston chapter, and those issues have been documented for reference. If something like this ever happens, we can even make reference. So they have been documented. Two, we've also collected ideas and ideas from the members themselves, because we as leaders, we are serving the general population, but then we want to know, what do they think? What are their thoughts? So besides their concerns, we want to dig deep more. Like what are their thoughts? What do they think? How things should be run? And then the other thing is, we're also moving towards restructuring every leadership post within Boston. So Boston as a chapter is going to be restructured, and that is, I think, one of the ultimate achievements that we are going to have as a way forward. So that in the near future, because the things we're doing today, it's like we are setting a record. The generation that is going to come after us, when Museveni is out of power, we want to make sure even the leaders that come unto him, things like this never happen. So that is why the documentation that I started with is very important. So that the future leaders, all the future people that are gonna be in here, they have something to reference on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, the struggle is real.
The struggle is real.
The struggle is real. Yes.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
People who are participating in the struggle, most especially in leadership positions, it's by volunteer.
Oh, yeah.
No one is being paid.
That's true.
To be a coordinator, to be a chapter leader, nobody's being paid for that.
That's true.
So with these new structures, how do the constituents or the different members, whether it's Boston chapter or any chapter, how are they guaranteed that the person in this position is trained for this role, given that it's not paid, and usually with paid positions there's training?
Yes.
Right. So how are they going to be guaranteed or given security that this is going to actually work, because this person is primed and ready and developed for this role? Yeah. Not just the potential, but like the actualized energy required to serve in this position.
Yes. So I would like to echo out that, yes, it's voluntary, but then if you come out to volunteer, and actually Muchala Dorothy, our chapter leader, has really mentioned this, and Derek Movilo, if you come out to volunteer, you take responsibility. So it's not just about being a volunteer. Once you step in, you're gonna be held accountable. That's why when leadership posts come out, they call up members who can help us do this. But once you're in the spotlight, my friend,
it's yours.
You gotta perform. You gotta pick up the responsibility. So how are we gonna make sure that the right people are in the right positions? We know our community. That's why the question of chapters is very important. If you are here, you don't know the potential of people in Canada. That's why the small clusters called chapters are very relevant. So we know our members. We know, okay, Muchala Judy here is a nurse. So we cannot assign you an accounting position. I mean, you may volunteer to be an accountant, but then we'll give you some advice, because every responsibility or every leadership post comes with that kind of responsibility. And if you're not up for the game, it's better for you to sit down as a cheerleader than to be in the spotlight, and people are going to be putting a lot of pressure, and you're not performing. So the beauty about this is we know our community members, we're not bringing in people from the outside community. So we're having members that we know Mchala Judy, we know Julius. So like as members pick up the roles, we also filter out and make sure it is the formidable members that are taking up those actual positions. Yeah.
So for our viewers, whether you're here in the Boston area or you're in a different chapter, as you pointed out that the expertise that you have, if you're, for example, like I was sharing with you, I'm a trained registered nurse. So as you illustrated, to have me be in the position of a financial manager doesn't really work or serve that role because I'm not trained there. Even though it's a volunteer position, if you don't have the expertise, at least a basic knowledge or know-how of a particular field or area, it would not serve for you to lead in a particular area, given that you don't have the basic, how do you say, qualifications for that area?
Formidability, I would say.
Thank you, formidability.
Yeah.
So how would you, as one of the organizers, how would you invite other people in the Boston chapter from different walks of life, from different expertise, professional expertise, to step up into leadership positions for the Boston chapter NUP?
So first thing we'll do is to define those leadership positions. Because if it's not really understood by us, we cannot assign it.
Yes.
So one is to make it, to define it and make it clear as possible. Because before you advertise, you gotta make sure what you're advertising is clear to the people.
Yes.
So we're gonna define those roles clearly.
Yes.
And make sure they're understood and they're attainable. And then mobilize our members and define those roles to them. They're gonna know, okay, if you're gonna be a secretary, what are you gonna be documenting? So having defined them very well, and then we can bring our members. Okay, we've structured, and this is what we've come up with.
Yes.
Then we call out the general public. This is calling out the general public.
Yes.
It's not about appointing. You call out the people and they step up. And then, you, as leaders, you discuss with them their roles. They make sure that, they're up for the game. Because, we're up a dictator who's been in power for about 30 years. So he's prepared. He has prepared himself. So we got to be ready. And we're going to be making sure that the members who are going to lead us, they have that formidability against, a dictator.
Yes.
Not just coming to pass time. I don't want to use the word pastime, but
to play around.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So part of the reason is really specifically defining those leadership positions very well, clearly. Yeah.
Yeah.
If we know you're the finance person, and the general public, they're gonna know who to reach out for what issue. That's why actually we're having a lot of issues that are rampant and they're falling on in different directions because people don't know who to go to for a specific issue.
Yes.
If we have a secretary, we don't expect someone who has an issue in let's say finance run to them, right? So people gonna know where to seek specific information.
Direct line of communication.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So are there any mechanisms being put in place to ensure NUP's sustainability in Boston?
Yes. Yes. And I think part of it is the structuring, because with leadership, as a leader, you gotta step down at some time.
Yes.
And when you step down at some time, the people who come before you, that is your legacy. People forget that. So some people may think they have really performed well in a position, but then I think the definition of your legacy would be what you leave behind. So part of it is, like the leadership we leave behind. That causes the sustainability of the chapter, of the organization itself. If we leave a ruckus behind, the people who come after us, they'll just be, they'll find hardship.
Yeah.
For example, if Museveni left power today,
there'll be a lot of cleaning up to do.
A lot of cleaning up, that's it. So part of the way we want to sustain this going forward is, defining the leadership itself. Because
and term limits.
Perfect. That's why, because the members themselves we are serving depend on our activities as leaders. So if we don't have a good leadership, then we have issues.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So the Boston chapter is particularly committed to ensuring and expanding its membership involvement to ensure that no one engaged in the struggle feels disrespected, feels left out, or feels even dishonored, unsafe, or unwelcome, either here in the diaspora or in Uganda. So I wanted to make that statement very clear that the intention of the NUP chapter is to respect and to uphold the dignity of all persons involved in the struggle, and to ensure that not just the leadership, but each individual is empowered and left with the know-how and the intellectual property of knowing that what they bring to the table does make a difference and that it does matter. Yeah. And so I want to thank you for being with us here, Julius. Our show was very short, and we won't be having any callers today because it was just a one-on-one conversation. This is your first time on the show, but you've been asked several times to come.
Yeah, I know.
Yes.
And actually, I'm very glad to have really honored this time.
I'm glad too. Our show, we have different types of shows. We'll have either a debate or a one-on-one conversation. We'll have people calling into the show to give to give us questions. We have a panel of experts that we also have on the show. So there are different shows that here at UVoice will be giving to the people and broadcasting. One of the programs that we started and we need to pick up is the history of the land issues happening in Uganda. We have not forgotten about our promise to continue that series. It is coming up, and we're going to be having expert witnesses also on that show. But again, I want to thank you for being on the show. You're very welcome to come again. We expect you to come again.
I will always come again. And actually, I should also mention that I'm a fan of the show. So
you are?
Besides coming, I also watch it.
Yay! We have a fan in the studio.
Yeah, I'm a top fan. I always follow the show. So
excellent. Excellent.
I don't know if I'm gonna watch myself too.
You're gonna have to.
Yeah.
But thank you again to our viewers. We thank you repeatedly for the people who came to the retreat here in Boston. We thank you for the viewers. Your comments are read. They are appreciated, and they are brought to the table for consideration and also for implementation. So again, my name is Judith Bukenya. Thank you for being with me in the show. David will be with me back in the studio the next time you see us. Have a wonderful evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Education is the key to unlocking your family's financial future. At Burlington Community Financial Center, we help families resolve their financial complexities by working with them to create clear and meaningful financial goals. Thanks to our unique educational platforms and financial workshops, families can begin to live debt-free and have enough money to secure their emergency fund and long-term savings.
At Burlington Community Financial Center, our mission is to educate families and guide them to achieve their financial dreams. Contact us today to learn how to live financially independent.